Now you may.
All right. Good evening, everybody. We'll call the Stormwater Utility Board for Middleton meeting to order. Richard, do you want to take a roll call?
Sure. On screen, I have Bachhuber, Giebert, Kuhn, Pollock, Potter, and Knorr. I think we're just missing David.
Okay.
So we do have a quorum.
All right. I'll take a motion to approve January's meeting, January 18th minutes.
I'll move. Can you hear me?
That was Ken?
Yep, that was
Ken,
Ken.
yeah.
This is Emily. I'll second that.
Thank you.
And any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Thank you. We got one item on the agenda to recommend approval to the Finance Committee for this services provided by MSA for a GIS management of our private storm water facilities and inventory. Everybody remembers we need to keep track of these things and report these to DNR about that we are keeping track of their functionality and they're being maintained properly. So it's a permit requirement for the city's permit. And
That is correct. We solicited MSA hosts or manages our GIS system and software, and this is an add-on to that system and software so that it can be all integrated and hopefully easy to use and more efficient for us as staff. So the request is to have Schwab, the utility, pay for this creation of this software and the development of it, implementation, which may take a little bit, and some training.
okay. So if we can get a motion in a second, we can have a discussion on this agenda item.
This is Emily. I'll make that motion.
Motion to approve this request and send to the Finance Committee. Okay.
Yes.
Second?
I'll second. Ken.
Ken will second. All right, we can have discussion.
Do you have any questions, I guess?
Yeah.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, same. It makes sense, and it's good that we're keeping track of them. So.
Yeah, we are currently keeping track. I'll say less efficiently in an in-house developed system, and I think this will be more integrated into the citywide system.
Yeah, my apologies. I misspoke. I knew you guys were doing that, but it's something that would help us, I should say. Thank you.
No, you're welcome.
Richard, this will be formatted in a way that we can get reports to the DNR at their annual reporting process.
That's the intention of it. Yep. I mean, it hasn't yet been developed, but that is the design, scope of work is to get it so that we can do the reporting, the monitoring, the tracking, everything we need to do in-house and report out to the DNR for the MS4 permit.
Okay. Well, Richard, we haven't reported in the past, have we?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have.
Yep. Well, we haven't had a system. We've talked about this for years, and we really hadn't had a system up until the last couple of years.
Yeah, Tom Weber had written or wrote a system in Microsoft Access, where we were keeping track of it, but it doesn't integrate into our GIS system, and it's kind of clumsy and clunky, and I don't think it does everything we're hoping that this new system will do. Plus, this will give you and other members potentially access to it to do your own viewing and review of what's going on.
But we've just started inspections in the last couple of years. We haven't had them for past 20 years.
Correct.
So how could we report anything then if we didn't do any inspections?
I don't know that there is a requirement to report our success on that until most recently.
Okay.
We were just recording and working on trying to get this system put together as we knew that the new permit, the one most recently written, was going to require more reporting. So we were a little proactive, and now we're trying to be better active.
Question I have, Richard, is right now, does the city have an Esri GIS product, or is this all hosted by MSA?
I can probably answer this, Rich.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it was 2 or 3 years ago that we switched from Rupert Milky, who was hosting this, and we moved over to MSA. And part of the reason we did that was to, like Esri is now hosting, and MSA is just kind of managing, and it's been much cheaper so far to do it this way. I want to say, Jim, part of this question is like a policy question, due to the arguments over the last couple of years since I showed up with finance. Is this a reasonable cost to be covered by the utility? Rich and I think it definitely is. The work that MSA is doing is being funded through multiple sources. Part of it through TIF. There's some money in a GIS fund, which is really for us to keep our base maps updated as development projects come along. We collect some money from the developers so that we can then insert their plan data, into the GIS system. It may be that finance committee would prefer to use a different source of funds, but we're asking for your recommendation because we think it's a utility cost. The first couple of years of MSA's work, a lot of that was spent on water utility stuff. And last year and moving forward, the water utility is now paying their own way, so to speak, with getting all the data and what they need built out in the GIS system. And we think it should be the same for the utility. There will be more tasks in the future related to this, so we're trying to kind of get your opinion on whether this should be funded by the stormwater utility.
Anybody have thoughts on that question?
Makes sense.
I tend to agree that it's certainly a function of the city's requirements for stormwater management and permit compliance, and to me that's a legitimate utility. And it also will help us with where these practices do need to be addressed, to be improved or revised or managed differently. But they will be managed by the private landowner. These are only for private practices, right?
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah, but the next phase of this, we need to build out an inventory essentially of our own facilities also. So that'll come too. You guys are aware we're working on that, and we're struggling to find the time to do it, and this will help.
Yeah, we need an asset management system for stormwater. Is this? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Somebody had a question.
I did. I was just going to add another comment that as we move forward, we'll be able to hopefully deal with IDDE and our inspections of the major and minors and more of what the permit requires in a single place, in a single system.
Yeah.
So it'll be more cohesive. But that's a future request. That's not part of this.
Once this dashboard is built and up and running, and I'm assuming that city staff will have full access to the dashboard to look up stuff and to query it and things like that, will there be an ongoing cost from MSA to maintain the database and the system?
That is a supplemental part of this. At the bottom of the second page.
Okay.
And it seems to get less as the development is more refined and working better. So it doesn't seem like there's a subscription with MSA, but there may be some subscription changes with Esri or ArcGIS as far as the licensing goes with that and how robust that gets. I'm not certain about that, but currently that's just not part of the separate people paying, I don't believe. The separate divisions, if you will.
So we're not voting on these future costs, 2024, 2025 beyond. We're just voting on the initial building of the system.
Correct. When we vote on that, it'd probably be in the budget as a maintenance item, as a standard budget item. We'll just try to get that in there in the next budget so that it's just ongoing maintenance and part of what we'll do in the budget process. Not a special request.
And I see they have training in here, so they have time to train, I assume, you and Eric on the system and how to access it and get information out of it and all that.
Yep, that's my understanding, and I don't know that there's a person limit on that. It's probably just an hour limit. So if we have 4 or 5 people that have a vested interest in it, maybe there's some of the streets people that see the people, or if we end up with, stormwater staff, those people would also likely be in the training process.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Hearing none. One more chance. No questions. All right. We'll take a vote on the motion then, in favor of recommending the stormwater utility funds to be used to fund this service to be provided by MSA, and we recommend that to the finance committee, and then finance takes it to the council. I assume, is that how it works?
I just end up putting it on both. If approved here, I'll just put it on both, and then it's the same night. So
okay. All in favor of that motion, say aye or raise your hand or do both.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay.
I got that as unanimous, 7-0.
No abstentions. Okay. That is the agenda, and I think we are going to take a motion to adjourn just to make it official. Take a motion to adjourn the Stormwater Utility Board.
This is Don. I'll move we adjourn.
Thank you, Don.
This is Emily. I'll second that.
Emily, second. Thank you. All in favor to adjourn, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
All righty. Thank you, folks. And also thank you for saying your name until I recognize your voices better.
How long are we going to do this remote?
Yeah.
Well, that's going to end up being on the next agenda, Ken.
Okay.
That came a little late for this agenda.
I mean, this works, but I do like to be in. It's nice to have people sitting around a table where you can, see everybody, and I don't know, you connect better than you do on this, but
Yep.
This works.
Completely understand, but that's a topic for a different night.
Okay. Do we stay on this link for the water resource meeting, or need to get back off and on again?
You can stay.
Stay.
I'm leaving because I'm not.